The silver tsunami, it's coming. 57 million workers are dedicating their time to companies that don't even offer any retirement savings plan, and it causes a surge in homelessness among our elderly. And the number of Americans living without homes, in shelters, on the streets is rising, and our baby boomers are getting older, and many seniors are facing poverty. With skyrocketing rent and uphill battle of rising housing costs, seniors' earnings have not kept up the pace right now. And the Wall Street Journal reported, which I thought was so horrible to read, that the fastest growing segment among the homeless in the United States is their seniors. Diane Cardano here from the Cardano team, and today I'm going to delve right into this topic. It might just challenge your perception of the American dream after 65. I was really upset when I was reading this article. So I'm going to explore the real challenges and triumphs faced with our seniors right now. Maybe you didn't know this. So why do they call it a silver tsunami? Well, that's because all these seniors are getting older, and that's getting traction. They're living in poverty, and it's a crisis that's been steadily intensifying. The rising trends of homelessness among older Americans has actually been happening since around the 2000s. In the early 1990s, only about 11% of the single adult homeless population was over 50, but now it's going to be about around 37.7%. And individuals over 50 comprise half of the single adult homeless population in the United States. This article really blew me away. It basically underlines the vulnerability of a baby boomer generation, aged between like 57 and 75 years old. It's a unique group. It's individuals who really have, toiled in labor-intensive jobs, and they really haven't been able to save enough to secure retirement. Now, to compound the issue, they stopped several relief programs that have further intensified these challenges faced by vulnerable seniors, as the growing number of these elderly individuals are basically finding themselves in shelters, encampments, or even living in their cars, a situation uncommon in previous homeless crises. Now, historically, very few homeless individuals were over 60 years old, but in the last decade, there's been a drastic shift. And the percentage of people age 50 and older in homeless shelters, it rose from 16% in 2013 to 23% in 2023. And at the same time, the availability of affordable nursing homes and assisted living facilities has seemed to decline, basically due to labor shortages, inflation, and reduced funding. See a lot of that. Let's talk about Florida. This state has the highest percentage of residents age 65 and above, and over 600 nursing homes have shut down since 2017. And this trend is not exclusive to Florida. Across the United States, thousands of facilities are at risk of closure, leading to lengthy waiting lists for low-cost housing and long-term care facilities that are subsidized by Medicaid. So between 2020 and 2023, as you all know, rent prices experienced their most rapid increase in decades, and it reached basically unaffordable levels for the average American, let alone for seniors. Now, the increase in rent has slowly eroded seniors' financial safety net. They're ill-prepared to navigate these surging housing costs and didn't know this was happening. They weren't prepared. Back to Florida again, they have 20 metro cities witnessing the steepest rent hikes since the onset of the pandemic. I just read this one story about a 71-year-old woman. She was in Florida. Her apartment was sold. New owner tacked on an additional $500 to her rent. And she relied on Social Security. She had to couch surf for months before actually securing a new place, all because of soaring rent costs. And also, the number of Americans aged 65 or older is expected to skyrocket by a whopping 45%, going from 46 million to 81 million. And the availability of affordable housing is dwindling, so there's going to be a problem. And with the significant chunk of the workforce right now is nearing retirement age without a penny saved, I think there's going to be a little bit of a crisis. I read a statistic that last year, only 1 in 10 low-income workers aged 51 to 64 had any retirement savings. And since 1992, only the top 10% of earners have seen an increase in their retirement assets. The rest of the workforce has seen little or no significant growth. So what's causing this divide? Well, basically, it's a shift towards these voluntary defined contribution plans, 401ks, the decline of employer-sponsored pension plans, and also reduced Social Security benefits. All that adds up. So it's not just an individual's ability to save, it's also how the U.S. system is currently structured. The U.S. retirement system heavily relies on Social Security and these retirement plans like the 401ks. But unfortunately, most low-wage workers, they don't have access to these employer-sponsored retirement plans. And pensions are practically extinct in the private sector, with less than 15% of private sector employees are now having access to them. And this is according to the Labor Department. So this leaves many Americans heavily relying on Social Security, which actually only replaces about 40% of your income for an average worker in retirement. Another report I wrote said that in August, 23% of Americans over 65 were living in poverty. And to put that into perspective, the average Social Security benefit is about $17.75 per month, which is over $300 less than the national median rent price of $2,252. So obviously the financial struggles of seniors are real, especially in the face of soaring rent costs. So our Social Security system is really facing a full-blown crisis. It's been brewing for years, and it's really hitting a critical point. And I'm listening to this article, reading it, it's just very disheartening. So it's even worse. I read that a report of how the U.S. retirement system rates over other countries. U.S. is below 30 other countries in a 38-member block, 30 out of 38. Revealing significant shortcomings in how the U.S. manages retirement for its citizens. You have countries like Netherlands, Iceland, Denmark, Israel. They're outperforming the U.S. Our nation received a C+. So many deficiencies in the U.S. approach to retirement, leaving 2/3 of working Americans over 40 are contemplating delaying retirement. They're uncertain if they can retire as planned. 15 of my clients last year decided to stay put. They couldn't retire. And this is causing this low inventory of housing because seniors are not moving. They're staying in their house. Like many of my future home sellers, they're taking money out of their home to fix it up, to stay. They're putting first floor bathrooms in and first floor bedrooms to accommodate just living on one floor versus going into a retirement community. It's so expensive right now. And just the credit card debt alone has ballooned in our country to a record 1.3 trillion. And this really crushes the American dream of many seniors. And our country is pretty wealthy, the United States. Homelessness should not be an acceptable outcome for older adults. I don't think so. However, instead of aiding citizens in achieving a comfortable retirement, these leaders are shifting the responsibility onto individuals. This pandemic hit the senior population the most. So to wrap it up, housing costs are outpacing income. Many older Americans have to work until their final days to face the grim reality, or worse, homelessness. So I think the crisis really demands swift preemptive action and urgency addressing these challenges faced by seniors in the U.S. We need to ensure that older Americans can enjoy their retirement, years with dignity, financial security. Now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this critical issue? Did you know about this? Have you or someone you know faced these challenges in retirement planning? Drop your comments below. Let's start a conversation. Also tell me what topics you want us to dive into next. Your input is invaluable. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more eye-opening content. Until next time, it's Diane Cardano from the Cardano team here at Cardano Realtors EXP, signing off.